So hello everyone, this side Aman here. Today here we are going to do the exploratory data analysis of the project Terrorism, and this will be my first project of Spark Foundation, and this project lies in the category of the intermediate project in the field of data science and business analytics. So let's begin with the project. So we'll start with the doing by importing the important libraries that we require for the EDA of this project. So first, the libraries will be that we're going to import will be pandas, numpy, matplotlib, seaborn, plotly, and math library. After importing the imported libraries, here we are going to read the CSV file. That's going to be globalterrorism.csv. After reading the file, here we are going to create the data frame for that particular data set, or we can call that the data file. After creating the data frame, here we are going to display some sample data of that particular data set of the terrorism. So this is the data set that we are going to display. After that, we will check for the we will use the describe function to check for the count, unique, top, frequency, mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum values, and some percentile values for all of the variables, or you can say that for all of the columns present in that particular data set. After that, here we are going to create a list of all the columns that are present in the particular data set, that is the terrorism data set. So this is the list of the particular columns that are present in the data set of the terrorism. So as you can see that this is a very long list and the data is very messy. So here now we are going to clean up the data and pre-process the data for better EDA. So let's begin with that. For that, we are going to first we are going to check for the number of rows and columns present in the particular data set. So these are the number of columns, these are the number of rows that are present in the data set, and these are the number of columns, that is 135, that is present in the data set. So after that, we are going to use the information variable that will help us to find gain more information about the data set. So after using that, we again the information about the data set. This will be the information that we gain. After using that, we are going to check for the missing values that are present in the particular data set, or we can say that the number of missing values present in each and every column of the data set. So here we are going to use the isNull function to find the missing values, and after that we are going to sort these values according to the descending order of the missing values present in each and every column. So this will going to be the result of this particular missing values. After finding the missing values, where we are going to check for the check, or we can go and say that showcase the percentage of missing values. So here you can see that the percentage of missing values in these particular column is very high, so these columns are not required in EDA. So we will drop these particular columns to drop the in the next particular the line of codes. We will going to drop these particular columns which are having the high missing values for the so after here we are going to drop these columns. So the columns which have the missing values more than 15% with the will be get dropped in the next particular particular line of codes. So these are the particular columns that we are going to drop. So to drop those columns, we are here going to use the drop function with the df with our data frame df. So these are after they are dropping these unnecessary columns which have the missing values, we'll get these particular number of columns left out, and we will imply the shape function in that particular data set. Now again, after that, you can see that the number of columns decreases from 135 to 47. So here you can see that the only 47 number of columns are left, we are left with. So after we are going to check for the missing values in these particular 47 columns. So here you can see that the percentage of missing values are less than 15% in each and every column. So these are the percentage of the missing values present in each and every columns. These columns are too much also. We now here we are also going to separate the unnecessary columns, or you can say that drop the unnecessary columns. So these are the some of the unnecessary columns from the number 47 columns that we are going to drop. So after dropping these particular columns, we again going to check the shape of the particular data set. So you can see that the columns got decreased from 47 to 17. That we can, so we can say that the number of 37 columns will be decreased. So after we are going to use the information variable in this particular data set, so that we can define the particular data set with some more information and gain some more information about those variables that we are going to use in the EDA. So again we are going to display the sample data of this particular data set. Now that is clean data set. You can see that now the particular column, these are the particular number of columns that we are left with in the data set. So here we are going to rename them to make them more presentable and look more professional. So these are the list of columns, this is the list of columns that left after renaming them. You can see that the I year can change to the year, the I month change to the month, and several on other columns names also get changed. So after doing that, here we are going to replace the values of the columns that are null values by the string unknown. So whenever there is a whenever there is a value in any particular column by the there by whenever there is no value in any particular column, it will be get replaced by the string unknown. So after doing that, here we are going to check for the unique values present in the each and every columns that we need in for the particular EDA. So the columns that we need for particular EDA will be country, region, attack type, target type, gang name, weapon type, and these are the only columns that we require for the EDA of this particular dataset. So now let's begin with the univariate analysis of this particular dataset. Those to do that, we are going to start with the plotting the bar plot for between number of attacks and attack per year. So here you can see that the number of attacks are maximum in the year of 2014. So here you can see that the peak of the terrorism is very on the top, or you can see that there is a surge of terrorism in the year 2014. After that, we are going for the next bar plot between the count variable and the countries variable. So here you can see that the count of Iraq is higher than all other countries in the number of terrorism. So here you can see that the count peak of the country of Iraq is almost touching the 25,000 of terrorism activities. So you can say that the Iraq is the mostly let down country of by the terrorism. So after that, we are going to check for the target type that are mostly targeted by the terrorists. So these are the particular 10 target types which are highly targeted by the terrorists. So first targets will be the private citizen and property, second will be military, third police, and fourth will be government, then business, transportation, utilities, unknown religious figures and institution, and at last the educational institutes. So this is the percentage of the target types. After that, we are going to display the bar graph between number of attacks and the countries, or you can say that the number of attacks and targets. So these are the targets which are highly targeted by the terrorists. So private citizen and the properties is the highly targeted target by the terrorist in the in this particular EDA. So after that, we are going to plot the bar graph between number of attacks and regions, and number of attacks and states. So here you can see that the region which is highly affected by the terrorist attacks will be the Middle East and the North African region. And if you talk about the states that are highly affected, will be the Baghdad state in these particular regions by the terrorism. So after that, we are going to check for the weapon type that are going that are used by the terrorist most. So the explosive is the highest carry the highest percentage, and it is the high weapon used by terrorists for their terrorist activities. So after that there are the firearms, unknowns, incident series, and melee weapons also. So here you can see the bar plot between for the weapons that the terrorists used. So explosive has the highest peak of the terrorism weapons that are used by the terrorists. Here we are going to plot the graph between the number of attacks each year between attack years. So here you can see that the year 2014 have the most attack mostly attacked year by the terrorist so this is the most lethal year for the citizens of the 2014 in each and every country, but mainly the Iraq country is mostly affected by the region by the terrorism activities. So after that we are going to check for the number of deaths in per year. So here you can see that if the number of the in year 2014 the number of deaths is highly on peak. After that we are going to check for the terrorist activities. For that is we are going to display by using KDE plot between frequency of attacks and years. So this is the frequency plot of these particular variables, as you can see. After that we are going to check for the bar graph between number of wounded versus region and number of killed versus region. So here you can see that the Middle East and North African regions have the highest wounded and highest people killed in that particular by the terrorist activities. So after that we are here we also have here some of the other variables univariate analysis. You can see that particular analysis also. So here you can see this is the univariate analysis for the terrorist group and the number of attacks. So here you can see that the which particular group is highly active for the terrorist activities. So first group that is highly active for the terrorist activities will be the Taliban. So here in next we are going to check for this particular Talibanian gang. So now we are here going to make the new data frame for this particular Talibanian gang. So here we created the new data frame. After creating the new data frame, here we are going to display the number of attacks and the per years by this particular gang. So here you can see that the mostly attacks in year 2014 are almost done by this Talibanian gang. After checking for that, here we are going to check for the number of people killed by this Taliban gang in which years. So here you can also see that in year 2014 the Taliban killed all more than the 40,000 of people. So after this we are going to check for the year 2014 because this is the most lethal year in the for the terrorism activities. So here we are going to display the bar chart graph between number of attacks and regions and number of attacks in countries. So here you can see that the Middle East and North African region is mostly affected by this terrorism activities by in year 2014, and the countries which are highly affected will be the Iraq. So in the conclusion we can say that the year which is highly lethal for the terrorism activities and the terrorist activities will be the year 2014, and the countries which are highly affected by the this particular terrorist attack will be the Iraq, and the region which is highly affected is the Middle East and North African region. So if you have any type of doubt, you can ask me in comment sections, and if there you have any query, you can ask that also in comment sections. And if you want to download this particular data set and this particular line of codes, you can download it from my repository. I will provide the link of my repository on in the description section of this particular video. So thank you all for listening myself.